Good evening, chat, and welcome to this week's ScrimCast. We are finally back from our nice extended vacation with the new season starting. There was a ton of meta shifts and changes that we really needed to nail down before we got some guests on here. So I'm excited to be back. I'm really looking forward to this episode. We have two guests this week that I really look up to. First and foremost is MattGoesBuck. He made the decision to become better at PvP, and he has invested the last season or two into improving, and he has pushed himself to the T on how to get better. So make sure to ask as many questions as possible for Matt. And then secondly, our second guest is Kami. I mean, those of you that have been around my channel for a while know Kami, know how he plays. The man is just methodical. Watching him play is just an incredible experience, and playing against him is rough. So we're going to undeafen. Kami's running a little late, but we can get started and meet with Matt and start picking his brain until Kami can get in here. Let's get it. Good evening, Matt. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So let's start this off. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell the viewers who you are, what makes you tick, things you enjoy in and out of gaming.
So, I am MattGoesBuck. I have been a Twitch streamer for probably 5 years. Ex Division 1 PvP Dark Zone main. I've always done PvP in every game I've ever played. Tried it in Destiny. When I first started with Destiny, I didn't play Destiny 1. I started with Destiny 2, and I was terrible. I couldn't get it down. I would just walk and die. So I spent maybe the last probably almost 2 months now doing nothing but quick play solo for the most part, and just trying to learn everything I can and improve everywhere I can. And I was a 0.8 overall KD 2 months ago, and now we are close to a 1.1 and still going up. So that's where I am with Destiny. I don't really stream much anymore. I focus more now on 60-second build breakdowns that I post over on TikTok that do pretty well, mainly PvE builds, but I did start to get into the PvP side of it. And then you probably see me around on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. All the Twitter tweets. I've loved seeing the backing that you've been getting with your growth tweets and like your improvement and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff we love to see in the community, you know?
Yeah. The PvP side used to scare me, I'll be honest. I talk to a lot of people almost weekly now that I used to, try to avoid because I was worried they were going to pull up some stats and tell me to shut up, basically.
Yep, I mean, that happens. It still happens.
It does. That's actually why I decided to finally get better.
I love that. Do you feel like the support that you've gotten from the higher end PvP community has motivated you to push harder in growing?
It's great. They're a lot nicer. There's a lot of good people in the PvP community, and I feel like most non-PvPers don't see it or have no idea that they exist. And a lot of you guys are really, really great.
I mean, I'm just like you. I'm still learning as well,
Yeah.
Big Matt fan more like? Hell yeah, love to see it. Kami is in here now. He is just deafened, so I don't know if he knows that or not. Let's see. Let me tell him he's deafened. All right. Yeah, I mean, man, I've really loved seeing the support that you've gotten. I got to make sure to hop in. So if you didn't know, Matt runs pickups in his Discord as well. So make sure to follow him on the socials as well as Kami. Obviously. That is the wrong one. Hold on. I have to remember my own commands. It's been a month. There we go. So there's the links. Make sure to follow the two guests of this week on those links. That's where you can find them off of the podcast in the day-to-days. Definitely worth checking out. They wouldn't be on this cast otherwise. Matt, let's start out with, until Kami realizes that he's deafened, let's start out with, do you stick solely to quick play? Or...
For the time being, yes. I did do my comp placements.
Okay.
I actually ended up getting my first ever we ran in comp during my placement.
Oh, there you go.
Placed gold 3, which I'm told is the highest you can place, but I haven't really done much of that since. I've done trials-ish in the past. I'm not great at 3s and having to communicate with 2 other people and listen to them tell me what to do or tell them what to do. So that's my next goal, is to get good at trials. I did play a little bit this season, and I was way, way better than I was in the past, so I guess it's a good thing.
Growth is always good.
Yeah.
All right. Kami, because you are undeafened now, why don't you introduce yourself to the viewers out there?
All right. I think a good opening statement is my monitor came in broken, so
Yes.
I'm in a really good mood right now, but I'm not gonna let that ruin the rest of my day or the rest of my life, despite it being really, really easy to. But I am a washed up Destiny 2 streamer. I'm part of the clan I am, led by Triple Rec, Benny, Sir Demetrius, and over at my stream, I tend to make a joke about everything, because if I didn't, I'd probably be clinically insane by now. That being said, that's really all I can say.
So, viewers out there, if you didn't know, Kami is the best tourney player in second place.
I'm a top 2 streamer, and unfortunately, I'm not one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to give him a hard time just because every tourney, you've won a couple, haven't you?
Yeah, I've won a couple, like every year that I did play in tourneys before I retired.
Yeah, before, you mean when tourneys were still tourneys?
Yeah, before it kind of became, the same 3 people competing for a slice of bread. Then some.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I hope at some point it comes back. Oh my god, that's probably the best thing I've ever seen. Kami, I'm gonna break character for a second and let you know that Chibs just said you are the Dado of tournaments.
Goodness, bro. Goodness. It's actually never been that bad.
Missed it by 2 minutes.
Thankfully, I can say that's never been me. I cannot fully relate.
Always the bridesmaid. That was a good one. Holy shit. So we just started out. Matt was explaining what steps he made to get better and the game modes that he plays mostly. Kami, why don't you tell the viewers out there where they can usually find you in the Crucible?
Doing private matches, because if I'm playing quick play, there's something wrong.
You say that, but I've ran into you in quick play a lot.
Yeah, past couple months have been pretty hard on me. Divorce leads children to the worst of places, that being Destiny 2 quick play.
That's very true. That's very true.
But yeah, typically I tend to do private matches. Occasionally you might see me just doing quick play, not paying attention, just fighting off, what I would consider felons and other people that somehow escaped from prison and found themselves in my Destiny 2 lobby. Yeah.
It's a rehabilitation program. It's what it is.
Probably not the best one. I feel like it may be making things worse, if anything. But, you know, to each your own.
So let's get it straight into the nitty gritty. Kami, what steps can you tell the viewers to take to improve in the Crucible?
I guess it depends on your platform, most importantly, but typically, at least what helped me, right, was watching high-level players, so people you might respect. That could be someone like Onyx, that could be Walla, that Panda, like, you name it. If you consider them good, you know, 9 out of 10 times you can tune into their stream and kind of have a good understanding, or not necessarily good understanding, but you can see what they're doing, and then from there, what you have to do with that information is, okay, why are they doing what they're doing? Why is it working? And how can I implement stuff like that into my own gameplay?
I like that. That was incredibly intuitive, actually. And then Matt, what steps have you taken personally as well to improve your gameplay?
Similar to what Kami said, like watching people you look up to. I mainly play Solar Hunter Crucible. Illphysics is a big Solar Hunter guy, so I watch a lot of him. The whole Discord thing that we started, we run a lot of private matches, and a lot of people in there are like 2.0 overalls, and I learn a ton from them kicking the crap out of me, basically.
Oh, you mean you learn by playing people better than you?
Yes, yeah.
Huh.
So basically, I get destroyed by them in privates, and then I just take it to quick play and improve there against, you know, people that are of like mind as me.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy how that works out.
Yep.
I mean, I want to bring up SBMM, but I think we're kind of beating a dead horse there. So let me ask, Kami, I know your thoughts on it. It is, we share the same sentiments.
I mean, you saw the video, you know,
Yes.
I learned a lot playing against Brazil's finest.
Dude, I play at 4 a.m. My lobbies are all China.
Just, you're playing against the weakest Chinese player.
Wow, savage. It doesn't matter when the ping is 600. They could be at 0.8 and I'm still shooting at walls and ghosts.
Like, I don't think people realize, like, peer-to-peer and skill-based they don't lend themselves to a good experience.
Yeah, no, not at all. So Matt, let me ask you, how do you personally feel with SBMM? Do you think it's helped you improve? Or do you think it's, I mean, we're gonna this is your chance to open up here.
I know it's such a sore subject too, because I mainly get a lot of positive feedback on everything I post about, you know, the KD going up and trying to improve, and I'm waiting for people to just tell me to shut up about my KD updates. But every once in a while, I get a couple of people that will comment saying that I'm only doing good because I'm playing 0.8s because I was a 0.8 and stuff like that. So to an extent, skill-based matchmaking, yes, it helped me get in there because I'm gonna match typically people that were bad like I was. And at this point, I think the game is confused on how to match me. Because, you know, a month ago I was a 0.8, and now I typically play at like a 1.6, 1.7 every match. So I think it doesn't know where to put me.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm not at a point where I get terrible lag and ping yet, and I don't think I'm playing a lot of Asian servers. Every once in a while I'll get like some Asian clan tags, but it's like maybe one every 30 games. So I'm not there yet to hate it. I'm sure maybe in another month I probably will.
Yeah, it's an experience, man. It's really fun to shoot somebody and then die to a melee and have no idea where it came from.
Yeah, I have noticed that the servers cannot keep up with how fast Titans and Warlocks melee, so you typically shoot through their bodies because they're moving too quickly. That's
Oh no,
usually
this isn't even that. This is they're running into the wall and all of a sudden you die from a melee.
Yeah, I don't have that
So,
yet.
It's coming. These are the
I'm,
things
I'm
you
sure.
get to look
Yeah, I'm
forward
close.
to. You're almost there, because I think seasonal wise I'm sitting at like a 1.6, and
Okay.
my lobbies are either Korea, China, Mexico, or Onyx and Nube.
Yeah, I'm right there because my seasonal is like 1.4, so I'm like right at the
You're at the cusp.
right at the cusp.
I guess it depends on time too. What times do you both usually play / stream?
Now,
Now? Okay.
yeah, typically after I have a almost 2-year-old, so she goes to bed at like anywhere between 7 and 9. So I'll usually get on when she goes to bed.
Okay. That was a missed opportunity for a nice joke. A little disappointed in that, but you could have said somewhere between 6 and 9.
I could have.
And Kami, why don't you tell the viewers out there what times they can find you?
Demon hours. If you ever feel like you can't beat the sleep paralysis demon, don't worry, I can't beat them either, so that's why I stream at usually godforsaken hours. Anywhere, so my new stream schedule used to be like midnight to
You have a
wherever I
schedule?
felt like I know. New year, new me. But I would say anywhere at this point from this is the earliest I've gone on in a while, but typically 10:30 Central Time, all the way into like 4 a.m. at night. It really just kind of depends on how I'm feeling, the vibes I'm getting from chat, the vibes I'm getting from playing the game,
That's the big
and
one.
so forth. So could be a short stream, could only last an hour. It could go all the way up to like a 6-7 hour stream, really, if I'm actually enjoying myself. Rare.
Yep. I mean, that's when you're playing private matches. Honestly.
Typically.
Yeah, that's when I get a ping at 4 a.m. and you say you wanna run scrims. Like I haven't even had coffee yet. Hold on.
My fault.
Okay, so we talked the SBMM experience. Let's do I really? I'll let y'all choose. Would you rather jump into Trials or Turrets Banner?
I haven't done a ton of trials yet, so
I did not. Hold on. I missed Tizzy's question. Here we go. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna reel that back. There was a couple questions I missed. Tuesday says shotguns are very different this season. What is your go-to shotgun in the primary and energy slot? Not including slugs, because I don't think anyone's really using slugs.
I think I have to switch to slugs because I have this problem where I keep headshotting with pellets and then they don't die because I headshot them.
Okay. I mean, that's a good problem to have.
I guess it's a good problem. My go-to shotgun, I have a crafted without remorse with corkscrew rifling, accurized, enhanced threat detector, enhanced fragile focus.
Okay. You got the fragile focus sauce. Good. People don't have the juice on that yet.
It's good if you're sneaky.
Yeah, true. Kami, what is your go-to shotgun in primary and in kinetic and energy slots?
I feel like I'm going to give the same answer for both slots, and it's going to be whoever doesn't piss me off, and that's kind of hard to find. I've typically kind of just learned to settle on my threat detector Mindbenders. That really hasn't failed me too much, and if it does, I just go to Matador Retold. And when it comes to kinetics, Dustrock Blues, if I'm not playing Trials, which is almost all the time, and Reese Walker.
Kinetic, I do practice.
Okay, yeah, Frack's a good one for a slug. That's a good choice. God, I miss Dustrock Blues. That was my baby. That was such a beautiful shotty, and that's when I started actually like trying to get better. I had my Dustrock and I had my NF, and I just went for it.
See, I feel like if they ever brought it back, they'd just ruin it.
Yeah, probably.
It would
Unless they made
it would
craftable.
never. Yeah, but it's never. It's them.
Right, right. You
Never
know.
gonna fail. Yeah.
Okay, let's I had one more. Hold on. Chips had one more question. Let me find it again. Um Chips, can you retype your Oh, here it is. What do you both think is the best class to play, or is it what you're most comfortable with right now in this interesting meta we're in?
So I play Hunter. I'm most comfortable with Hunter. I enjoy the movement. While I'm still learning when to peek, not to peek, it's nice to have a dodge to be able to get back quickly and back in cover. For the moment, I have my crutches. I use Wormhusk and I use a healing nade because I'm a terrible person.
The double heals. I mean,
Yeah, and
it
I have
keeps you
100
alive.
recovery and 100 mobility, so it works. Eventually, I'll ditch those because there's no point in surviving if you can't get kills too. So I'm sure I'll find something that is actually damaging instead of survivability, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
that's what I use.
if it's working for now to help you grow.
I ditched I used to do reload dodge for like the fourth crutch. I ditched that. I no longer do the reload dodge, and I used to run the knife that sticks on the wall, the explosive knife, but I swapped to the heavy one for those nice headshot knife throws.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to lose, a couple crutches.
Slowly but surely.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Kamiya. What do you think is the best class right now?
The second coming of Top Tree Dawnboy, known as Orc Titan. It has the best grenade, best melee, best class ability, arguably, the best access to exotics. I mean, what can it not do?
Titan supremacy is so good. I'm a big fan of the Arc Titan right now.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. It needs to go. Like, I guess, without going on a tangent, I can save that for, my 6-page, Twitter essay at some point.
Iron
Uh,
Banner is just all Arc Titans.
Yeah, just Titan as a whole and class identity just need to really be reevaluated. I don't think it's healthy to have a class that does absolutely everything. We saw in the
Yeah.
form of Top Tree Dawn, and we dealt with that for years, and Dawnblade and Chaos Reach were the only two things that competed with Stasis, and Stasis was just broken, so that kind of says something about the balance of the class.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I don't know. I know that's kind of a hot take, though, because I know that Bubble Titan, obviously, is really strong. As well as, let's be real, Hunter Void, Night Stalker. So, if you had, I'm gonna make it hard here. If you had to pick one thing to change on any of the classes to bring them more in line with the other ones, what would it be?
It's such a hard question because barricades are so broken.
Barricades, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I mean, you're basically just putting up cover whenever you want, every, 12 seconds if you have 100 resilience.
Yeah,
And then you
something like
bring in an exotic that lets you be able to shoot through it, but take no
Titans.
damage. Yeah. I just think, like, everyone complains about healing rifts for warlocks, but when you think about it, they don't have the cooldown that a dodge or a barricade does.
I agree with that.
Even with 100 recovery.
As a Titan main, I agree with that. I don't think dodge is a problem.
Yeah. And then you
Tommy.
bring in the new thruster ability that Titans have. They basically have a dodge now too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I could see that. Kami, what would you pick?
One thing to change about Titan, or
Any class to bring it more in lines with the other ones.
I mean, with Titan, I guess it's less so a Titan issue. Well, it is a Titan issue, but I guess for me it would be there needs to be stricter diminishing returns, or I guess a easy cop out would be the barricade shouldn't regenerate until it's broken. Because the current issue is you can run 100 rezo, get 2 barricades in the span of 30 seconds before your previous one expires, and that just leads to more frustration than anything else. It would also solve the silence issue that we're dealing with right now.
That's not a bad idea. I've seen people say that there should be a reduction of damage output too if you're shooting through Titan.
I agree with that. Or what about giving Titans the same treatment that Bacchus got? Where if you're using Titans, you automatically get a slower cooldown.
Yeah, that'd be similar to what Kami said, where the regen doesn't start until the barricade's gone.
I do like that idea. I just don't know how that would. I don't know how that would code. I think that'd be neat though. That'd be a really cool thing to.
I think Bacchus is coded the same way, so
yeah,
it wouldn't be
I mean,
too problematic.
It's been done in other MMORPGs. I'm sure Bungie could figure it out.
So, I agree, but, and this is something that I've noticed over time. I first and foremost, to all of you listening, I absolutely love Bungie. I love the devs. I'm a big fan of them and the things that they do. One thing that they do that confuses me, however, is they overcomplicate things. Something minor that needs to be changed, they spend a year building it and make it this crazy steps and this crazy huge change to it, and when we just needed like an add to a cooldown timer, right? So I'm trying to think of how they would do that without overcomplicating it, you know? I like that one, Chibs. We were definitely going to roll into that one. Chibs says, what are your thoughts about bringing all of the ability cooldowns to equal across the board in PvP?
Not all abilities are created equal, and that's kind of like what we had before, where a Dawn Blade was treated the same as a bubble. Now, I'll be completely on. Well, I guess it was also during, old subclasses, so if you want to run bubble, you would have to run like a much worse kit. But I still feel like the argument kind of applies. It would, with the exception of Fist of Havoc, it would kind of just lead to roaming supers being a bit overpowered again. And also, let's just say something like a Firebolt. A Firebolt is not like nowhere near strong as an Arc Bolt. Should it be treated the same in that sense? So the whole 30th anniversary change, it's not bad on paper, right? But do I think things need to be standardized like a bit when it comes to things like comp or, trials? Yeah, absolutely. Because that's kind of like where everything falls apart. Because why wouldn't I run a bubble, or why wouldn't I run a shutdown super when it takes like 5 minutes, compared to if I want to run Dawn Blade, it's going to take me like half a year.
Yeah, true. That's actually leads into the next part of it, and Matt, obviously I want your input on this as well. Do you think supers should remain tiered, especially with something like the idea that you can shut down bubbles by using your super, but bubbles recharge so much faster?
I feel like it's a hard line to walk because it's Bungie and they either do way too much or not enough. And then if you start standardizing everything way too much, then you're going to get into year one style Destiny 2, and everybody knows how much they hated that.
Yeah. Kami, you got anything to weigh in on that?
I don't think this tweet was directed at you, but it was something I tweeted recently. And it's just, Bungie needs to come to terms with game balance versus game health. Now the thing is that having a healthy game does not always mean that the game is the most balanced, and having a balanced game does not mean the game is in its absolute most healthy spot. And so that would entail, let's just say, Forsaken, Shadowkeep. It was not balanced. It was very far from balanced. Pinnacle weapons were stupid, but it did lead to a lot more aggressive gameplay. It did lead to people moving, just, not being afraid. And while, weapon diversity wasn't the best, at the time, that wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Sure. I agree with that.
And so that's kind of just something they have to come to terms with, that, hey, a balanced game does not necessarily mean that players are going to have fun, or that this is going to be the absolute best thing. Destiny, typically, the most memorable metas are when things are, the furthest thing from balanced. Really.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. This is something that I see on Twitter a lot. It's the weapons versus abilities argument. And it's one of my favorite ones to jump into. Because I can always tell how people play by their answers. But I want to ask you both. I mean, we're supposed to have a 60-40 weapons to abilities is what we're supposed to be in at now. Do you think that that's a working model? Or do we need less abilities, more abilities? What are your both thoughts?
I think the abilities are wild. I've always said that, and this was before I made the decision to try to get good at doing this. I've always complained that there's about 117 different ways you can die in Destiny PvP match that aren't an actual weapon. So 2 months ago, when I was like a 0.8 overall, it's wild the gameplay that I'm seeing change, even like day to day, just from going up in overall KD. Just the way people play it differently is wild. When I first started playing quick play every day, I used to be able to just run around with a 450 AR and slay out. And now I'm playing peekaboo matches with people. As soon as they take one tick of damage, I don't see them again for another 5 minutes. It's people's play styles as you go up are completely, like, it's wild how much they change. They throw like 5 storm nades at the beginning of a match and just kind of hang out with each other in the back of the map.
Yep. I had a tweet about that yesterday.
And I feel like a lot of like it's weird how I'm progressing and getting better, but the play style doesn't seem like good people are doing it. Even though I know they're good, it's just like lazy gameplay, I guess. I don't know how to put it, I guess.
Interesting. Okay.
But like nobody's really shooting weapons anymore. I've encountered a lot of people just throw a wither horde on the floor, throw a grenade, and then run around until they get that back.
Yep. Which is, I'll hold my thoughts on that. Kami, where's your input on this first?
I have a lot of kind of conflicting thoughts on it. I feel like this, if you've been a part of the franchise since D1, it just feels like Bungie's just kind of, they're kind of trapped. They're stuck in a circle where in D1, abilities ran rampant. Primaries were wow, special weapons were wow, but that's also what led to the appeal. But the thing is that players didn't like that. It got changed because I want to say, what was it? Like year 3, it just became who can throw a sticky nade at who first. And obviously that, we're kind of, it's not stickies, it's kind of who can throw a storm nade at who first.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. So do you think that the model where it's at now is healthy for the longevity of the game? Because, well,
I don't think 60-40 is ever going to be as attainable as they think it's going to be. Because right now we're kind of in we're in the cycle of, yo, we should just nerf abilities. Abilities are the issue. Abilities are the issue, which I definitely think diminishing returns is the way to go. Now, do I think we need to, lean into what we had in year 1 of D2, where, you throw an ability you're not going to get back for the rest of the match? No. I don't think things should be that punishing. But I definitely think kind of the go-to balance should be, hey, it's great that you can farm armor and everything. I feel like, especially with the subclass 3.0 giving you free boosts, you can go into a dungeon, spend a week in there, come out with, at least, double or triple 100s, and, the stats of your choosing. That's great and all, but hey, we need to actually realize that it's not necessarily the healthiest thing for the game. I don't think the game was balanced around the fact that, hey, you can do that now, have triple 100 and all these stats, and there's not really any trade-offs. Compared to, before, like, what, in D1 there was, like, the tier 42, tier 43, something. It was, like, tier 12, something like that.
Right.
But that took a lot more time and effort. Obviously, do I think people need to, just main the game to get the armor they want? No. But I definitely think Bungie needs to kind of take into account that, hey, people can do that now. Don't punish the people who aren't doing that. For instance, I run like 8, 6, 10, like 6, 6, 6, like, a fairly balanced build, right? You shouldn't punish those people too hard, but obviously you need to kind of have like a better cutoff compared to, what there is, where it feels, I would say, almost mandatory be running some of these builds. Because if you're not, you're just going to get shafted, because, even if it's something as simple as, the Titan on your team, he has 5 intellect. With Thunder Crash, he's not going to be getting super at the same rate as, let's just say Denny is flying around the map, getting kills, and, he's running max intellect.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to be stacking it a lot faster. The problem is, a lot of the community doesn't even know about that kind of thing. And that's something that I'm starting to realize. They don't know you can go farm the dungeons to stack.
There's an easier way. You can literally take 5 Umbral engrams, go to the helm, go to the war table, focus risen armor, and literally get triple 100 build in 5 seconds. And so many people don't know about that. You don't even have to touch endgame content.
I don't have any Umbrals because the Akilos SMG likes to tease me.
Well, yeah. I'm right there with you, but yeah, I think 2 seasons ago I made at least 5 different triple 100 builds on each class, all within like a day and a half.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, the question is, should Bungie tune for those people that don't have the drive or the effort or the knowledge to even do it, or should they tune for those that do? I guess is the real question here.
I guess how can I put it? I guess this is kind of answering your question with a question, right? Or I guess a different answer to that question is, I think Bungie needs to actually stick to a full philosophy, actually get their priorities in order, instead of kind of this, hey, we're working towards the future of the Crucible, but, chances are we're not going to see, like, the actual future come to fruition for, 3, 4, 5 years. I would say kind of a frustration I've voiced a lot on stream is that, no offense, I don't doubt that the Bungie devs are talented and everything. I try to avoid, outright shitting on the company as much as I can. But it's a bit silly how we get AE, it's being tuned time and time and time again, and it's just kind of like, how did this make it to the live game? This felt more like, okay, we just finished alpha testing, now it's time for beta testing, and after the beta's over, you'll kind of have, like, a more complete version of AE. We also kind of saw that with the crafting system, where they straight up just shelved all the crafting materials and were like, so about all those crafting materials you guys gathered, yeah, we're getting rid of all of them. Sorry about that. And it's just silly. It's really frustrating as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that as somebody that wants to craft but never can because of my RNG more than anything else. I'm glad they got rid of the mats. Honestly, it felt like once I finally got what I needed to craft, I was short of material, and then I had to go farm something else.
Yeah, like I'm glad they made that change, but my main point is that, you know, I would prefer that they kind of just waited to get everything in order, and if they realize, hey, you know, this system doesn't particularly work, you know, we can come back to it. I just want things to feel more complete than what they have been, and that kind of, the whole priorities kind of being all over the place, right? Like, okay, you know, you just realize that a bunch of players are frustrated with your AE changes, and then you introduce disjunction, and then you introduce skill-based matchmaking, and to top it all off, you have a quintuplity, and just you know, to make things a little bit better, we're gonna kind of launch comp in the state that is, where typically if you're freelancing, and you know you're not doing it on the first day for the roses, you're gonna be spending a lot more time getting mongoosed, or at least, you know, I am.
Yep.
And then
I love waiting, you know, 8 minutes to 10 minutes to get a comp game to play people running triple sight and DMT in the back of the map. Don't you enjoy that too?
I can't name a more exciting experience.
It's content with a capital K, Kami. That's a. We're touching base on like 3 things right now that I definitely planned on diving into, all in one shot. So Matt, why don't you share your thoughts?
It's funny because coming from the PvE side, now they're all pissed off lately too, because they think the game's too easy now. Implementing the 100 Brazilians 40% damage reduction basically made everything a cakewalk, and now all these endgame players feel like they have nothing to do.
Yep. But and I'm gonna touch base on this because I talk with Salt a lot. Does it need? How do I word this right? I see the responses to Salt's tweets and the overarching anger at his requests to making a harder mode. Is that a healthy sentiment for the longevity of the game, or is that a I just want to get things done sentiment?
The problem is okay, cool. You make something harder than Grandmaster, and that's cool. But Bungie always underestimates the Destiny community, and they are always going to find something completely bonkers broken and always make the game a hell of a lot easier than it should be. And then on the other half of it, you're gonna have the people that are gonna be upset because they can't even do Grandmasters now, so then they're gonna complain, why are they putting in all this time to make new content that I can't even play when there's other issues going on?
Sorry,
you're never ever gonna please more than 40% of people at a time making a shooter.
So if you had the opportunity, to tell Bungie, walk into their office right now and say, this will help, which side would you lean?
For harder content, or just
harder content, or more accessibility, I guess?
At this point, I'd say harder content and switch up something like Champions doesn't make content.
Yes, I 100% agree with that.
They made this model. It was really cool when they came out with it, 2-3 years ago. But it's really played at this point. Even the seasonal model at this point, where everything's the same. Here, do these bounties rank up this exo frame or this pirate ship, or it's always the same. Mm-hmm. And it's very tiring. they need a shake up pretty much for like the whole game.
Yeah. Tommy,
and it's a great game. It's unfortunate. No, you're good. I was just saying, I mean, it's a great game when you look at other looter shooters in current looter shooters, they get maybe an update every year and a half. So I mean, Destiny's still doing everything right. But
yeah,
still doing it wrong.
I guess how can I put it? Bungie doesn't necessarily have competition in the genre, kind of the niche.
I mean,
you know,
you got Division 2. You got that. Has gotten 3 new things in like the 4 years it's been out.
Yeah, the Division 2 I would say flopped. Anthem flopped. Borderlands 3 was. It was not the goal that they struck with Borderlands 2.
Yeah, Outriders flopped.
I mean, Outriders isn't even the same like type of game. That's the thing. It's just a lot of these games that are meant to be Destiny killers aren't even in the same genre, and half the time, they just don't tap into the same success that Bungie did. And I feel like that's a
great, but
Warframe's still a different game, I'd say.
Yeah, you have to live a Warframe lifestyle if you're.
God, Warframe. I didn't pay for anything in Warframe. So I crafted that, and I'd wait the 7 to 10 business days to get one piece of weapon or armor, and then realize that I fucking hated it, and then do it again.
I farmed this scythe in that game called Hate, and it's got like a 0.0007% drop rate. I lost my mind.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things where I definitely agree with you. Bungie's managed to pull off something that no other studio has been able to do. And that's build an immersive PvE and PvP and PvEVP experience all in one.
Yeah.
And
that's why we're all here.
That's why we can't quit this.
Yep.
Have you seen the Tyler 1 clip?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think about that all the time when I'm facing the triple Titans in Trials. And people are asking me, why are you still playing this? It's because I'm addicted and I can't fucking quit.
What are we gonna play? Call of Duty?
Yeah, exactly. Call of Duty's been the same for 20 years.
Yeah.
I hope at some point there's a competitor that comes out, because that drives innovation. And that's the biggest thing that I think Bungie is lacking right now.
Yeah, they don't have their backs against the wall saying, "Oh shit, this game might do it better than us."
I don't even think it's better, honestly. That's not the drive's not better, right? It's innovation itself. That's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
It drives innovation in any tech company and any studio. 2 games that are doing things really, really well, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. But if they're doing things well, they bounce off of each other and build this crazy innovation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think somebody needs to come in and not be a Destiny killer, not be the next greatest thing, but to be almost a partner and bounce ideas, right? I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Look at BR.
Yeah.
Fortnite. I mean, but Fortnite had other games that bounced off of it and helped build BRs. Same idea.
Yeah.
Like what? It was DayZ, then PUBG, and then Fortnite kind of,
And then Warzone.
They struck gold with.
And then after Fortnite, there was literally like a new survival game to play every week. It seemed like.
Fortnite kind of just innovated. Straight. Like it paved the way for not only just BRs but also the industry as a whole.
Agreed.
I like Scavengers. If you guys didn't play it, it was a pretty good game.
I have not. But that's kind of the great example. Is like, basically, Bungie has created the Fortnite version of, the RPG PvP aspect, but nobody's stepped up to the plate like a DayZ or a Warzone or anything like that to continue the legacy.
I mean, Division 1 was amazing, but they really flopped hard. They should have never made Division 2.
Division 1 I think launched pretty well, then they stumbled for a bit, and then after a couple years they kind of had their Rise of Iron, Age of Triumph era where the game was like really, really good, and they're like, okay, we're gonna make two 2 comes out and it's just kind of
it was very
Like it just didn't capture the attention of other people.
There's nothing to do in it, unfortunately. They made this huge open world and there's nothing to do in it too. Which is, I mean, I guess to
The average Destiny 2 patrol space.
Yeah, it's just the same thing as like, when was the last time you were like, hey, I really need to do this public event?
Right. I say that, but I definitely had to do public events last week.
Okay, well, not for like a cookie event or a
right.
Halloween event. Yeah.
I think I had to do it for the weekly, honestly. But hard tangent off of it. Let's get back into the PvP aspect, because that's what the viewers are here for.
Yep. We kind of went off there.
Let's talk metas and counters. So right now, the metas, how do you feel about them? What are you all seeing as the outliers in your respective tiers? And what counters have you found against them?
Exit the desktop.
I was about to say that.
Alt F4.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say that, but there's a couple out there. So let's scramble a little bit, and I guess let's pick a game mode. So let's pick Trials. We've had 4 weeks now of mid to long range maps. What have y'all found as the counters in those maps?
Crying. I've only done one trial session this season, so I'm probably not the best person to touch on that.
Okay.
I think I did like 8 or 9, 10 matches. It was all DMT, all of it, and it's the second they took damage, they ran away. So that's my experience. I don't like DMT as a controller player.
But that's what it was buffed for, was controller players.
I still don't think I maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I am not down with it.
I don't like it either, so I think
I don't get it. I don't know.
It's my playstyle more than anything else.
I guess, yeah.
Kami.
Hello.
So, metas. What have you found as counters you can tell the students to use to potentially... Oh god, I hope not. Potentially beat this super exhilarating meta.
I mean, as much as it pains to, say, and also probably pains people to hear, as basically if you're not running the exact same thing or like a similar or comparable loadout, like, and this also goes for I would just say it's like 3's game modes especially. Like if they have a Titan and you're not running a Titan, you're at a disadvantage right there. If, they're running like a sidearm SMG and you're not running a sidearm SMG, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. If they're running DMT, you have to be running DMT. If you're running no time, you have to be running no time. And so if you're not using any combination of those weapons, you're already putting yourself at such a massive disadvantage. Like, I hit Ascendant running, what I would consider morality weapons, so, hand cannon, shoddy, and so forth. Trying to avoid picking up heavy as little as possible, right? The amount of times that I would just be bottom fragging or just feel like I was throwing, just using that loadout, was just crazy. And the most important thing that I could ever really offer to my team is playing my life, because I can't kill people as fast as a sidearm SMG. I can't just beam someone with my, DMT hand cannon. Can't just, lane in the back of the map with no time, get 3 kills. I had to respect my hand cannon's limits so much. And that does not work against organized teams. In freelance, you have a bit more of a chance. But if someone asks me to stack, and we match another team, we're all running hand cannons, we have to quite literally go tourney mode. We have to be screaming callouts. We have to try so hard, and chances are they're like leaned back in their chair having the time of their lives.
That has to be
like
so
it's just
frustrating.
Just wait.
It's just crazy.
I know.
You're getting there.
I'll get there, but
I mean, there's times I absolutely agree with you, Kamiya. There's quite a few times where I've loaded into a match with, say, you know, I've started running SMGs, right? And I've been enjoying SMGs a lot. But I also have a Rose that I really like. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to run Rose for a little bit. Within the first 2 matches I loaded in for trials this weekend, I swapped off Rose completely. And said, okay, I'm putting on a Polaris Lance because this is how people are playing in the back of the map. So I feel this immensely. Same thing in comp, same thing, even same thing in 6s lately, and I just don't understand.
Well, you're saying that you do enjoy playing Insidian's Revoker in all areas of gameplay? And that, you know, it didn't actually get nerfed the first time, and we have to deal with the consequences of it years later?
Well, I mean, this is a return consequence of people begging to have sunsetting go away. Honestly,
I would say the issue with sunsetting was more so it shouldn't have been directed at the things that was directed. The issue was clearly pinnacle weapons. If you want to sunset pinnacle weapons, so, you know, whether it be Fellwinter's, because I consider Fellwinter's a pinnacle weapon, there was nothing okay about that shotgun. If you want, so Mountaintop, Recluse, Revoker, right? You know, NF. You can apply nerfs to those weapons and also let people use them and, you know, say comp or, you know, quick play. And I think that's fine. I just don't think that they were healthy for the rest of the game. Now, that being said, you know, should Duke have, you know, caught strays for just happening to, as this scene Forsaken? You know, should Dustrock, you know, caught strays for that? No, a large portion of the game just got screwed over because, hey, we don't really know how to balance our pinnacle weapons. We don't know how to balance Mountaintop. We don't know how to balance Revoker. It seems like a case of throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm. That's a term I haven't heard in a while. Holy shit.
I'm old, I know. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's my primary frustration, and kind of a side tangent is a lot of the problems that exist now, those are symptoms of a greater problem. And the more we try to address the symptom, the further we get away from the actual problem.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. But it's also it's a little more than that, right? The whole argument against sunsetting and why it's so irritated, right? Is people weren't hitting the power level necessary to play the power level required fields. Iron Banner, Trials, GMs, things like that. Obviously, GMs still have a light level enabled, and so does Trials, but I expect that those two we're probably going to see an end of times for those. For at least a light level portion, you know what I mean? Because people complain so much about it. Do you think that's the right thing to do, or do you think that power levels should still remain?
I feel like kinda, so in regards to in-game activities, right? I think we're entering a new age where the whole, hey, you know, the D1 model of, hey, you have to be this tall to ride this ride isn't exactly working. And a lot of the times, especially with artifact level, it just leads to Bungie having to just input limits where, hey, you know, when you enter this activity, you're capped. This is as far as you can go. You know, I remember doing trials, like Burnout Week, and, you know, I don't really do PvE too much anymore, and the amount of times I would 3-tap someone, and they kind of just walked it off, just shrugged it off, like it was just a flesh wound, just like, oh, you know, that was nothing, because I'm doing less damage than, you know, I'm like 1580, the person I'm fighting is like 1590.
Right.
And, you know, if I slide a lane, you know, I just get one bursted by no time, because, you know, he's a bit higher. I think Bungie's eventually going to realize, okay, power-enabled PvP is a bit silly. It's not drawing the same audience that was. But also, I guess the more important question is, okay, what does an in-game PvP activity look like then, if it's not power level based?
you should see the power creep in Gambit. If you get a high
level enabled.
Yes, if you get a high enough as if you're an invader, you literally can't be killed.
Yeah,
wonder-
I don't know what they're doing at Gambit.
I don't. Honestly, I've said for a while now that Gambit should be a rotating activity.
I'm not gonna lie, Gambit had promised to be one of the best.
I loved Gambit at first, and then
The heavy weapons.
Yes.
the whole ammo crate thing now, like you don't even need a build in there. Like it's I don't know what they're doing. I got nothing else on that other than I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I got one more question, and then we'll jump into the scrim portion. Chat, if you're new here, the way this works is we finish the questions up. If you have any last minute questions you want to ask, type them in chat. Otherwise, we're going to switch over to the practical portion, and you guys get to play with the guest of the week. We do one instructor on each team, run a game, flip the instructors, run it back, cycle out for the next group. If you have any other questions beforehand, ask them in the meantime while I'm waiting for those questions to be typed in, if there are any. We know, boys, that from the Firing Line podcast 3 weeks ago, AE is being changed again. To now, it will be pre-Icarus, or better than Icarus, pre-AE on primaries. Do you guys think that's enough to reshape the landscape of the Crucible? Or are we too far gone? Is it something you're excited about?
So I've never been an in-air gamer in
Okay.
Destiny. I don't know if that'll change now that I've actually mained this, because I haven't really had a chance to try it out. I don't know what benefits it offers yet, because when I played before, when it was a thing, I was always on the ground.
Yep.
So I don't really have too many feelings on it. I just think it's funny that this season they introduced a SMG that lets any class fly. They introduced a seasonal mod that basically gives you in-air accuracy, and I feel like they're really giving us all this stuff to see how much they can buff it before it's broken again. Not broken, but too effective in their eyes.
Okay. I don't think AE was ever broken. It was
not broken. Very good in the right hands, but I feel like they're like giving us all these mods that buffs it, and a weapon that lets us fly around and be effective with it, just to see how far they can push it again.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Kami, how do you feel about it?
I just have to believe it when I see it, right? You know, my initial thoughts towards AE started off as this could be good if done right. To, you know, kind of like, what are they thinking when it comes to this?
Mm-hmm.
To just, you know, I've just kind of accepted that. Wow, you know, clips of me jumping in the air are seen as it's like fucking Mozart just dropped a sick beat or something. Like, it's just like classical art at this point. So I'll just have to wait and see. I know AE just really shafted hand cannons, you know, and also shafted shotguns even more than what they're already being shafted, given that they have like quite literally every nerf attached to them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just have to really see, hey, is this actually going to do something this time? Or is this just kind of a, you know, listen, you know, this should on paper be better, and then it just isn't.
Yeah, they flat out said, though, this will be better than pre-Icarus AE. Or,
So it's going to
It'll
be
be better
stronger than it was before?
it'll be stronger than it was with Icarus before
So
AE existed, I should say.
Why did they take it away in the first place if they're just going to bring it back and make it stronger than it was?
Because it's only...
This is where the confusion comes in. This is where I don't get.
I'm going to agree with you on both accounts, honestly. But it sounds like it's just to stop special weapons. So my guess is
So
somebody
this is a primary thing?
Yeah, it's only for primary weapons.
Okay.
So the biggest thing is that going to be enough to counter this back of the map hiding behind the shield meta?
So this should make hand cannons essentially really good again.
Hopefully. That's the big hope here. Because they're not right now. And that rolls Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, go ahead and finish. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna roll it into the next topic.
I was just gonna say I've always been a pulse rifle user, so the more people jumping around in the middle of the map sounds funner to me.
Yeah, it is. And if you're facing people that don't know what they're doing, it is the best skeet shooting ever. You just stand there and watch them fly and then take your shot. Like you can time it, slow it down, hit your shots, no problem at all. So I did remember a question that was asked previously that I missed originally and then wanted to go back to it. The argument that I'm seeing right now on Twitter, a lot of the time, from higher skilled players, I guess I could say, is hand cannons should be the baseline for tuning. Do you guys disagree or agree, and why?
I think hand cannons are probably in their most balanced spot, and I've been of the opinion that since I want to say Shadowkeep, hand cannons have not been anywhere near as overpowered as people think. You know, options like No Time has been broken for a really long time. Lame and Narc was broken since like day one.
Yeah.
And you know, they still weren't as prevalent as what they were before. You know, pre like all these AE changes and all these things that kind of shaft movement about, just simply because you had options. SMGs have been good for a while, sidearms have been good for a while. Just the amount of power creep that have just been thrown on the weapons because people are just under the belief that hand cannons are just overpowered, when in reality a lot of it's just boiled down to people don't want to use other things. People are happy with their hand cannons. Don't take my hand cannon from me if you don't have to, right? People are happy with what they're using, and you didn't see the uprise and the lack of morality until it just became, well, okay, using hand cannons just a straight up throw. Even Rose, which I would say is just the best thing since sliced bread, the second coming of year one Dire and Spare.
Yep.
It's not good. Like, people are forcing it.
I don't know, man. I think Rose should be the baseline for every hand cannon, but that's just me.
I think they need to. So a lot of the 150s they turn to 140s need to kind of adopt the whole mixed hybrid lightweight frame.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Matt, what do you got to add?
As someone who is a outsider non-hand cannon user, I've tried to use them. I can draw a nice outline of your body with them, but I can't hit you with them. PvE I'm great with, but PvP I can't hit anything. To me, the hand cannon literally is the identity of Destiny, and it's not like anyone can use them. Like, you have to be good with a hand cannon to be good with a hand cannon. So I'm not for the fact that hand cannons aren't a meta, because to me the hand cannon is Destiny, and it's weird that you don't see it as much as you should.
Yeah, and that's a tough one, because I absolutely agree with you. I got shit on by hand cannons for so long in the NF meta. I taught myself how to use hand cannons.
Yeah, and I'm sure if they were the meta now, I probably would force myself to learn them. But right now I feel like I don't have to learn it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm hoping that we see. This is going to be a kind of a controversial take. I'm hoping that we see more hand cannons in the future, and more hand cannon usability with the changes to AE and otherwise. Honestly,
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, hand cannon clips are fun. Like, it's just a fun weapon. Like, it's, to me, somebody like bot walking with a pulse rifle, it doesn't make for an interesting watch. like somebody flying around with a hand cannon like Kami right now in this VOD is fun to watch. People want to watch that.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, if we have no other questions, chat, we are going to switch over. If you have questions while we're in the scrim portion, feel free to type them as well, or ask them in the VC when you get to play with these codes. So we're going to go to be right back. Let's get into the gameplay portion of the Scrim School